Alright. What's up, guys? Back for part 2 of What If Deku was a Sith? Was it Sith Lord? Let me see. Sith Lord, yeah. Actually, give me a second, guys. Alright, I am back and better than ever. So, real quick before the video, you guys might want to hear this. I am going to be unprivating all of my old videos that I had taken down. And some of you might be wondering, what old videos are you talking about? When I first made my channel, I made What If Deku was betrayed, and What If Deku was cheated on, and What If Deku was framed, and I privated all of those after I had a talk with a YouTuber known as I haven't watched him in so fucking long, Jesus. But basically, he was the one who inspired me to start YouTube and all this stuff. And yeah, after that talk, I had decided to delete these videos. And sort of now, being older and thinking more for myself, just cause like I look back at it and I had a lot of sort of mistakes there, and I'm gonna be re-uploading all of those. Well, not like re-uploading, but unprivating all of them, cause I didn't delete them, I just unprivated them, or I just had them private. So I'm going to be unprivating them all, just so everybody who either started on my channel can rewatch those old videos if they wanted to, or maybe if you don't want to rewatch those old videos, or maybe you're just a new person and you haven't seen them at all, you can see them. Maybe even ask if I can redo it, just because that was like the first series I finished even. And I guess that sort of was a reason why I didn't record as often as I think I should have, and I had stopped going daily. But it's either here or there, but I've decided that I'm gonna re-upload them all. If you guys want to watch them, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's all up to you guys. So yeah, I spent like a good 2 minutes on that, but I'll probably make a whole video talking about it. And if anyone wants to talk to me about why I'm re-uploading, you can ask me, text me on Discord, whatever. Server will be in the link below. But yeah, either way, let's get into this. Alright, so last time I left off, Deku had just left in his ship and was heading for UA in order to test himself against, other people and see like how far he's really gotten in comparison. So now Deku has landed on planet. And, he checks like on his like world map, like where would he be, because he knows he landed in Japan, but he has like he doesn't really know where he is, and like he saw like a city nearby, but he doesn't know if that's exactly where he was. But it turns out he had a pretty good landing destination, and he landed pretty close to where he's from. So he decides to put on his cloak and start going, because obviously by now Inko would have put out a missing report on him, because he's been gone for months probably. So after that, Deku, he's walking through the city. He does see a few flyers with his face on it. He does have there's definitely like a difference in what he looks like in those photos and what he looks like now. The biggest difference obviously being that he has the eyes of a Sith. His eyes, that have that orangish sort of glow that all Siths do. Other than Deku is pretty weird. I'm sure there was a reason behind that, but I never really remembered. But yeah, so Deku, he's sort of like, he's walking home. Or not walking home right now, but he's walking around the city, just re-exploring, getting himself back to being accustomed to these things. And as he's going, he sees that, there's this whole beach that's uncleaned, untouched, and he decides, this would be a good way to just quickly, warm myself up and go straight to UA. So Deku immediately, he walks over, he puts his arms up and moves them around sort of, and all the trash starts coming up into the air and starts floating, and then he starts moving his arms around in this sort of way to sort of get it to spin up in the air kind of around him, and then he just stops his arms right from each other and then crushes them together, which obviously sends all the debris and trash to crush itself into this ball, and he puts it out on the side for whoever the hell to worry about. Then he starts heading to UA, and well, Deku obviously he can't really be oh well, I want to sign in, because obviously the people are gonna realize he's a missing person, so he's sort of gonna use his force ability to mind manipulate people into letting him in. So he walks in, of course there's people, he doesn't fall down, so he doesn't meet Ochako. Bakugo doesn't really bump into him, he just can see that there's this cloaked figure. He's that guy looks shady as hell, but obviously he tricks the teachers and they just let him in. So now they had the written portion of the exams. Obviously, Deku hasn't studied, at all. But, for things like math, he gets really good on it, because obviously he's trying to, he's flying fighter jets and all that sort of stuff. So he's obviously doing pretty good in all that. Which, I'd say that helped him, understand give a better understanding of math than it would if he just studied, just because I feel you gotta understand math if you want to understand how to fly and repair a jet, or not a jet, starfighter, you know what I mean, alright? But so now with Deku basically just sneaking his way in and all that, he still has to worry about English and all that stuff, and he decides screw it, and he just manipulates what's it called, the what's the word I'm looking for, the exam instructor, yeah, that's a word I'm looking for, the exam instructor, into sort of just letting him pass, just because why would he actually try on this farce? He's only looking for the physical portion and how good he's doing in that. So obviously, since he's only focused on that, he makes it there pretty quickly, and he's not sat down next to Bakugo just because he didn't trick them into thinking he went to his old school, because that would just cause problems for him. But he's just so you know, just so you don't think the ability's crazy OP, it's his sort of mind manipulation ability, it doesn't necessarily work on people who are crazy smart, or just certain sort of people. It's Jedi mind tricks. Now, not everyone can get tricked by a Jedi mind trick, and it's mostly just used so that he can get through this. It's not gonna be a crazy sort of ability that he just always gets out of trouble with. So yeah, and now Mike is explaining all the robot stuff. He's explaining this is a 0-pointer, and not the 0, he's explaining the 1 to 3 pointers, and then Ida stands up and he's excuse me, you haven't explained the 0-pointer, and just before he can really say anything, he's forced to sit back down, just because Deku, he doesn't really have time to waste with this guy, and he knows that Mike is about to explain it. Mike then is okay, and then he starts explaining the 0-pointer, and Ida's confused, who the hell use their quirk on me? What kind of quirk could this be, just to make me sit down and stuff? So after that, Deku goes out to the front, and he's waiting. There's a bunch of people around. Ida's there, Chago's there, obviously all those people are there. And then President Mike's alright, 3, 2, 1, go! You know, everybody runs out, and they're all trying to like get all these robots. You know, Deku, he's going slow to start off with. You know, he's crushing some robots, throwing them to the side, all that stuff. And if you remember, he's not able to use a lightsaber yet because he wanted to just only use the Force. So yeah, he's just completely relying on himself at this point. Throwing the robots around, crushing them, spinning them, all this, just having fun with it. And then like around like when Prison Mike's like, you don't have like as much time left, you know, Prison Mike tells him they're at the halfway point. And then Deku decides like to start getting serious. And so, like, you know, he just sits down and then crosses his leg and starts focusing, right? And he starts meditating, but it's not like Jedi will meditate to control their emotion, to calm it. While Deku, he's sort of like meditating to feed into his rage. That's what all Sith do. They meditate in order to anger themselves, think back on past memories that anger them even more, which only enhances his Sith abilities. And then, you know, he starts his eyes like, you know, clench tightly closed as all these past like memories of him getting bullied and him feeling powerless return to his mind. And then right then, you know, all these robots, they start lifting up like while people are fighting them. You know, people are confused, like, what the heck's going on? What are these robots doing? And then, like, right above Deku's head, one robot, it, like, gets sent, and it just, like, gets sent, like, right above Deku's head and starts floating there. And as it's floating there, all these other robots start shooting towards it and smashing into it, and they're smashing together and getting crushed and, like, closing into, like, a ball of metal. Just like he did with the trash. You know, he closes it tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until like it's just a small little like baseball sized practically, and then he just drops it on the ground. And obviously this is like how much worth of metal into the size of a baseball, and it squeezes in. Like everybody's looking over at Deku like, what the hell? He has telekinesis. Like what the hell is going on with this? And obviously, you know, Deku is pretty advanced in the Force, but he's not like lightning advanced. He's nothing crazy yet. He's not like proficient enough to really be that, you know, crazy with the Force, but he is still strong with it. So obviously he can do these sort of big feats and still, like, you know, come out on top. And then, you know, Nezu was like, alright, let's just send the 0-pointer then. So, you know, basically, Nezu sends out the 0-pointer. It starts going, and, you know, everybody obviously runs away. You know, they're screaming, oh my god, it's a 0-pointer. You know, they're all running, scattering into, like, different directions. And then, you know, just like in canon, the rubble falls onto Uraraka's leg. You know, it hurts her, and she's stuck there. But Deku isn't really caring about that. Instead, he wants to test himself. He wants to see the limits to his abilities when it comes to this robot. So obviously, he jumps up and, you know, he gets on top of this building. And, he, like, sort of, like, tries to, like, grab the robot with the Force. But obviously, this thing is fucking massive. It's not really gonna be that easy. Even, like, the other robots, like, floating that many at once took him to meditate. But this big of a robot's gonna be fucking real difficult for him. So, you know, he's trying to push it back with everything he's got. He's trying to, like, make it fall over, or even, like, maybe collapse itself. Obviously, he could, like, use the Force and destroy the circuitry, but he's trying to see the limits to his abilities. He wants to know how far he can go before, you know, he just gives out. You know, he's struggling, and, you know, he's, like, feeding himself to the darkness he's feeling around him. He's just trying as hard as he can. And just like how I don't like to use The Force Awakens and stuff like that. as a sort of like, launching ground. But like with him like so like enthralled within the Force and so like deeply like pushing himself and feeding himself into the darkness, he like he shoots out some sparks of lightning that like dig through the metal and burn through it, but it doesn't go far enough to really do too much. And Deku's still just trying to push it back. This is giving Uraka like enough time to realize, I could just float this stupid rubble. She does that. She tries to then start run away, but she feels her ankles hurt. And then Deku just keeps pushing and pushing, but seeing that Deku's not gonna fully get it, Nezu decides that it'd be better to not put this student, Uraka's life in danger. So he stops it, which basically means that all the resistance Deku was feeling just goes away, and then the robot gets pushed over and falls and crashes down. Deku, he's annoyed by this because he obviously knows that the robot stopped moving, which means like he feels like that was my limit. That's what I couldn't move it, I couldn't pick it up, I couldn't even push it. But he is also interested in the fact that he shot out Force Lightning, so he does plan on focusing on that. But just then, the tests finish up, and obviously, the nurse walks out just to check on Deku and Uraka. But Deku's fine, and he decides to just go. And then after that, Nezu's like, who the hell was that? And stuff like that, Basically, everybody's just like, I don't know, but, he got the highest points, like, ever. Other than the fact that, he did get hero points for attempting to save Uraka and giving her enough time to free herself. But it wasn't like he got those hero points because he deserved it, or because he wanted to protect her or anything like that. So after, he does all that, he gets into his ship and then says, screw it, I'm just gonna go back to my master. I don't really need to see, like, how good I did when it comes to testing myself against all these other people. Because he already knows that he definitely did the best, if not, nearly the best, just because everybody else was doing god-awful. A lot of these people he could tell could probably put up at least a match against Bakugo if they really jumped on him, but he did better than all of them combined. So obviously he feels like he did better. So after that, he goes back to his master and he gets to Darth Maul. Darth Maul, he's still chilling on the planet that Deku and him were on before. And, he looks to Deku, he's like, are you ready to go hunt for your lightsaber? Deku's like, yes. Because in canon, unlike how Jedi build their lightsaber, and then, they use a certain crystal depending on what they want, Sith have to kill a Jedi in order to get their lightsaber. They have to take their lightsaber from another Jedi. At least, that's what Darth Vader did. And if we're gonna go by what he did, then it'll just work better for me. So, Maul does comment on how it's going to be harder to find a Jedi using double-bladed lightsabers. He does recommend to Deku maybe going for the palace guards, because most of them have some double-bladed lightsabers, some special form of lightsaber. But Deku, he does tell Darth Mater, Darth Maul, that he has heard of a Jedi with a double-bladed lightsaber, which interests Maul because he's curious on when Deku's heard about this and who this Jedi is. And then, basically, Deku tells him about this Jedi known as Pong Krell. Now he's known for using his double-bladed lightsabers, and he has 2 of them. And, Maul, he's a bit curious about this, having 2 double-bladed lightsabers seems like a bit much. But, he still thinks that it's, certainly impressive just because he knows how hard it is to deal with one double-bladed lightsaber. So, Maul does comment on, like, do you think that you could just be this Jedi? Because obviously this isn't just like some small deal Jedi. This is a real ass, like, Jedi Knight. Or I don't even know if Ponkrell's not a master. No way, Ponkrell's a master. But this is a real deal Jedi Knight. And Deku, he has confidence in himself. He tells him that he feels that he'd be able to do it, and that he only needs time and, like, the location of Ponkrell. So Maul decides that he will find a way to get the location, or, like, get Ponkrell in a certain area for Deku to fight him. And obviously, if Deku dies. But he has to make sure that he survives, or else then it will be known that the Sith are alive. But while Deku has to do his thing, Maul does tell Deku that he has to go out, and then he has a mission given to him by his master that's going to take him to a planet known as Tatooine, and that mission will be what he's doing while Deku is fighting this Jedi known as Ponkrell. And Deku, he says it's perfectly fine. He wishes Maul the best. And yeah. Let me check something real quick. First off. Alright. Well, I'm going to be leaving this part off here. I know this kind of felt a bit slow to me. It felt like I zoomed through this, honestly. But I really feel like next part I want to think a bit more about how Deku meets Ponkrell, what happens, what planet they go to, all that. And yeah. If you know who Ponkrell is, he is a legit Star Wars character. Not much is known about Ponkrell, but if you know who Ponkrell is, I don't think you'll be too sad to know that he's dying. Unless Ponkrell happens to be your favorite Jedi, which, I'm sorry, I guess. But yeah, I will be making all those videos that I talked about public, and yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed.